welcome. My name is Julia, and I'm going to be going ahead and talking to you about how to be an artist. So today's lesson, we're going to be talking about materials. When you start, you don't want to complicate things too much. I would suggest starting very, very simple. For example, maybe you don't want to start with paints, but what you should start with is a very simple pencil or anything that you might have laying around the house. We're going to talk about some of these supplies, maybe how you can get them, and also how to use them. Let's talk about the pencil. This is the most simplest way that you can start creating an image anywhere, anytime, and pencils are also very accessible. So a pencil sounds very straightforward, but there are also many different types of pencils. So the main pencil that I use it's called an HB. So if you look at the little letters right here, you'll see letters or numbers. And what those letters and numbers mean is the hardness, how hard or soft a pencil is. It depends on what you want to do with your drawing and the types of effects that you want to create with your drawing. And you can actually pick up a box of pencils and experiment. So you'll notice on the side of the box here that it says the hardness range right here on the side of the box. And usually it moves from the hardest, so the really, really strong lead, it'd be very hard, it would be very clean line, and it goes down to the softness. Don't worry about how many types of pencils there are. The best thing that you can do for your art is to use what you have around you, okay? So whatever you have around you is absolutely perfect. Just remember, start simple. That's the best way. So what happens if you make a line that you're not happy with? Well, then you're gonna need an eraser. So you don't necessarily need an eraser, but if you do want to have the ability to correct some of your mistakes, an eraser would be a great idea. So there's several types of erasers. The first would be the classic square eraser, or any type that you might find. You might also see an eraser at the end of your pencil. And then there's also a kneaded eraser. So this one's really cool if you can find these, because they pull and stretch like this. And you can shape it so that you can actually get into little areas of your drawing. But again, whatever you have is absolutely perfect. So just be sure to start with what you have and don't let your materials get in the way or stop you from creating. The final thing that you might want to consider when you start drawing is a pencil sharpener. So here's mine. It's just a very simple sharpener. So again, you might have a little plastic sharpener. Maybe you can find a little metal one like this. Just start with what you have, okay? So this is really all you need to start, students. This is all you need to start, just a pencil, an eraser, and a sharpener. Even if you don't have these two items, the eraser and the sharpener, you've always got your pencil. So just, again, start with what you have. Lastly, you're gonna need some paper. So if you don't have some clean white paper like this, just look around you, find materials that you might be able to write on. You could use the back of a page of a magazine. You could use a newspaper. So anything that you might find around you that you can draw on, a surface. I think one of the biggest takeaways of today's lesson is not to let your materials limit you. In other words, just use what you have, because if you're an artist, that's all that matters. So let's go ahead and look at the paper today, and then I'll just demonstrate the thicknesses and some types of pencils and how you can use them directly on the paper. We'll just draw some simple lines today. So we're not gonna get too complex. We're just gonna start with line. So let's go ahead and open up the box and we'll take a look at how different some of these pencils can be. So I just want to say not to worry if you don't know exactly what these numbers on the ends of the pencils mean. You will understand how the pencil feels once you start working with it. The hardest pencil that we have is a 2H, and let's go ahead and see the type of line it makes. You'll notice that the line is very thin. Okay, so this would be a really hard pencil. So the harder the lead is, the thinner the line. HB. Do you see how the line is a little bit darker? So as the lead gets softer, the image will be a little bit darker. Okay, now we're gonna go to a B. This is a 2B. This is a 4B. And finally, this is a 6B. This will be the softest one. Do you see the difference in the lines that these pencils made? So from left, we have the 2H, which is the hardest, going to the HB, the B, 2B, 4B, and finally you'll see that this is the darkest and the softest pencil. So even something very simple like a pencil will have big differences. You might find that you prefer one pencil the most. My favorite is the HB. The HB is a very good drawing pencil because, as you see, it's a very classic thin to medium line. So if you're going to choose a classic drawing pencil, I would definitely recommend the HB. So your darker shadows will be created by the softer pencils, and then your lighter lines will be created by the harder pencils. But you'll learn as you go along. So once you get comfortable with the pencil, you're welcome to dive into other materials such as colored pencils, watercolors, acrylic or oil paints, but don't let your materials get in the way of you creating really great art. The final aspect of being an artist really is just to have fun, and just when you're drawing, don't worry about it. Get loose and just have fun as you create.
A big bright smile.